Blue pill.
Yeah, I haven't been there since I was like, in my early 20s. Like fallen somebody for that hard. Do you fall for people that hard?
I get anxiously attached to people sometimes. It depends on if they like remind me of my mom or dad. Honestly, it's like it's all childhood wounds. So it's if a guy gives me a lot of attention and I'm not, it's usually like people I'm not that into at first, and then I'm like, oh, I'll give them a shot. And then the minute I bang them or something, they withdraw. Then I'm like, wait, why don't you love me? Like, aren't you into me? Like, I get very like anxious because I've put I'm giving them I need their approval for me to be something. But I've worked on that. It's codependency.
It's codependency. I have the same thing, but I try to mask it. So I'm really like kind of fucking myself. So I try to play cool girl a lot. When truly that's masking my codependence.
Right.
My feeling is really like, please don't leave me. I need you to show me validation and all of these things. And that's why we're perfect. Codependent addict.
Yeah.
So
I know, it's so good. Narcissist.
Uh-huh.
But he's not a bad narcissist.
No, he's
open
not.
about it.
He's not a true narcissist because we've been through this.
I'm not a narcissist at all. What the fuck are you talking about?
Stop talking about yourself.
I watched. There's this Indian.
No, we all are. Bobby.
I'm not. No,
We're on the spectrum of narcissism comedians.
You have narcissistic traits, but you're not a true narcissist because a true narcissist does not know how to show any kind of empathy or love or reciprocation. They're only out for themselves, and they are. I don't feel.
When the natural disaster happens, right? And have you ever had this where you're watching the news, right, and you see like Sandy Hook, right?
That's not a natural disaster. It's the least natural disaster of all time. The most unnatural disaster of history.
Interesting example.
Yeah.
You're like natural disaster, like 9/11 when the wind blew the planes into the buildings. It was crazy. So gusty that day.
All right, not a natural disaster, right?
Tragedy.
When a tragedy happens,
yeah.
right? Sandy Hook, right? And for me, it's like I remember the day when I was watching CNN or whatever, and it was happening.
When I was watching the playground.
yeah. And I was just like, just in tears.
Yeah.
Right? And just looking at these poor
Why did
parents.
it bump the show you were on? You were like,
Right.
it was supposed to be the Mad TV was coming back out.
Yeah. So I have a sense of like, I'm a
of
human
course.
being.
Empathy.
right?
Well,
and love.
be careful with that because what I learned about narcissism is that you're talking about being a psychopath or a sociopath where you absolutely have no remorse or feelings towards tragedies. Narcissists have feelings. In fact, the worst thing you can do to a narcissist to shatter them is to leave them. Being left, because narcissism at the root is true insecurity. That's how it's bred. And because they're not, usually an adult that is now a narcissist was a kid who was overindulged in praises, but
Yeah, I'm not like that.
underindulged emotionally.
I'm not like that.
Simultaneously.
I'm not like
So
that.
that's what I'm saying. You do have narcissistic traits, but you're saying
Leave me. See what happens.
I've gone into a rabbit hole of like narcissism because I realized like there's so many narcissists in my family.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm codependent.
We do have traits, though. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
of course.
No, and I
We're-
think that's important to have that sense of self-promotion is necessary to make it in this industry.
I think you're great, Bobby. You got nothing to worry about. You're working on yourself. As long as you work on yourself, that's my criteria for people in my life. If we're all fucked up, we all have dents. It's like what makes us cute and unique and it's cool. But if you're not working on like handling your triggers and stuff like that, I want nothing to do with you because it's not like I dated a guy who had so much PTSD from childhood abuse, which I also have PTSD from stuff in my childhood, but I work on it and he wasn't working on it. And it's like, when you do that, you're just an unsheathed sword and you're just slicing everyone around you. Like, why am I getting screamed at?
Same.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it's just, and I understand where he's coming from and I forgive him, but I wasn't going to be around that.
Yeah, that wallowing is so not cute. To just sit there and wallow and to know that there is a solution, but to not take that solution is
because
really
and
bothersome.
to think that everyone's
It's happening to you.
The worst. Yeah, the worst.
Yeah, but I find that like that happens. Like I had a childhood friend who now has borderline personality, and that is the one reason why like I cannot have a relationship with him at all. He is a victim of everything. He's so hot and cold. He he's very abusive verbally, and then the next thing he's the most apologetic person. He's yelling at you 1 second and then like just profusely apologizing. And then when
That's not actually that bad though. That doesn't mean borderline always. Sometimes people just catch themselves in the middle of screaming and then apologize.
That's true.
What do you guys fight about?
We don't fight that much, but we did. He was late. Like I was like, "Do you want to come with me?" Because I like when he drives me, and he missed the dog because I had the dog all day. And he was like, "Yeah, but he was doing the laundry." This actually makes me sound so bad. He was doing the laundry, but I told him ahead of time. I was like, "I'll be there in a half an hour," and I was afraid I was going to be late. So I like get there and I text him like, "I'm here," and he's like, "Okay, I have to change the laundry." And then it's like 8-9 minutes, and I'm like, "How fucking long does it take to change the fucking laundry?"
Wow.
So I take the dog out. He's not in the laundry room, and I'm like screaming. I'm like, "Where are you?" I'm like screaming, and the neighbors are like, "What are you doing?" And then he comes, and then but it was fun. He always has, but not. I'm working on it. I'm getting better at it. But he doesn't really do anything wrong ever.
No, I don't think that's borderline. Borderline is like bipolar, but faster. So you rapid cycle your moods. So you go through like 10 different moods within an hour.
Yeah, that was my ex probably. Yeah. So crazy.
Am I like that?
No.
Okay.
No,
So
God, no. You're-
narcissistic to be worrying about whether that's
Like even when he's worried about like cancel culture and stuff, he's such a sub. He's such
Yeah.
a simp. He's like the gentlest,
yeah.
softest. Like I remember when we first started dating, he would always go on podcasts and talk about his like sexual prowess with me. This is before you had even posted a picture of me.
Yeah.
And I would listen and I would giggle because I'm like, oh, it's just what he has to do. Pretend that he's this like big, mighty, sexual king when he really like, he's such a simp.
Yeah.
And I love him for
he's always
that.
on his stomach.
Yeah.
He's a real belly boy. I can just imagine you just puckering your ass up.
Yeah, he's a bottom. He's my baby bottom.
Oh, that's so cute. I'm a middle.
Anyway,
yeah.
Anyway.
Great body.
No, but
Anywho.
I saw something or read something about how like, because I had a lot of yelling in my childhood, and they were like, yelling is actually abusive. Just even if you're not yelling at the person, just yelling is like surprising, shocking, and abusive around people. So once I heard that, that was a wake up call for me. And I had a boyfriend that I scratched on his neck, and I was like, I'm done. Like I have to I have to help myself, because if I did that to him,
Yeah.
if I have kids or whatever, like it just wasn't like a safe thing. So after that, I really worked on my anger. And